Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Brian, and I'm here with Evan and Ryan. And in this live stream, we'll be rocking an APL Points League draft. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. That fires me up. Still fires me up. Every new podcast, we're with this new intro. We're always hyped up at the start, and that's what a good intro does. Brian, you are back. We missed you. We missed you very much in our little trio here. And
I'm back. I'm here to stay, boys.
Yeah, Evan. If you're wondering where Evan is, he's with us. We just he disappeared from our screens for a sec. I think he needs to fix his internet. So all good there. But what we're doing tonight, we are doing another mock draft, another APL mock draft, the Apples and Ginos Patron League. There is one last spot remaining, and you have about 4 minutes to get in. If the link is in the YouTube comment or the YouTube description there. So if you want in, click that link, get in here and draft with us. There's one spot remaining, and someone's going to take it if you don't. So take it up. Yeah, we got, oh, there we go. We had a Nate Dog.
Let's
I wonder
go.
if that's Nate. Sweet. All right, we are full. Thank you for joining. Yeah, let's go, Blake. So, Brian, it's been a while. I think me and Evan have learned a lot in our mock drafts without you. And are you prepared to be crushed? Do you think you have some rust?
I might have some rust, guys. I've been totally out of the loop for the past little bit, so I hope I can shake it off early. Yeah, I guess that'll remain to be seen. So fingers crossed, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. Are you keeping up on hockey news? Today was training camp opened up, and I was really excited because we had our first tweet from Game Day Lines with some actual groupings. I don't know if they were actual lines, but they were groupings at the Winnipeg Jets practice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's like the most boring update because it's exactly as you would expect. You know, Scheifele, Connor, Velarde, and Nyquist, Perfetti, and Jonathan Tace. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was interesting. I might have, because I quickly skimmed over it, but I saw Morrissey wasn't even with the first group; he was with the second group. I don't know what that was about, or if I totally misread that. If I did, it's because I'm rusty, so I'll leave it there. But yeah, it's super exciting. I actually thought it was kind of interesting. I saw that update about Matthew Tkachuk, like for sure out till December. But I thought he was going to be out until like February. So if we get him before that, that could be quite kind of interesting, which I'd love to see. But yeah, I love to see all these updates coming in now, furiously coming in. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, awesome. And we got Brandon over here sharing our points here for the APL. We got 5 points for a goal, 3.75 for an assist, 0.5 for a shot on goal, 0.5 for a power play point, 0.3 for a hit, 0.6 for a block, and then you have the goalie points over there, as you can see, 2.75 for a win, 0.35 per save, minus 1.5 for a goal against, and 3 points for a shutout. Nolan did not make it in again. I'm sorry, Nolan. We did have one last spot available, but someone else beat you to it. Hope you can join us next time. And we have Evan back. Evan, did you go outside and fix your cables and everything?
Yeah, just standard Wi-Fi stuff, but I'm back, boys, and I'm excited.
Well, we're happy to have you. The trio is back. I know we got to get started because I'm also noticing some comments like, Matt, here, you're late. It's showtime. We got to get rolling here. I love to see it. The guys there all fired up and ready to get going. So I think we're good to get started.
Yeah, so I'm drafting at the 3 spot. Evan, it looks like you are at the 5 spot. And Brian.
I'm right after him. Feel the thrill there.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Number 6. All right. So we're all grouped together. So we're gonna have some nice snipes, it looks like. And I think we're starting in a few seconds. Yeah, here we go. Evan, how you doing? How you doing? You feeling good about this mock draft? I think we have a leg up on Brian because of his absence from all of our mock drafts recently, right?
Yeah, he's probably forgotten, all of the fantasy knowledge he's accumulated over the years in these absences. I'm just I'm hoping to snipe him in a few spots. We can snipe each other here, Brian, in the 5 and 6 spot.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. And I wanted to throw this out here because I've seen this a couple of times. We've had a couple of people ask us if we're going to do a Yahoo next time. I think a lot of people are doing their drafts on Yahoo. So something to consider. I think we definitely can next time. But yeah, I'm on the clock here.
Yeah, so first overall pick went McDavid. Second went McKinnon. They've been going 1 and 2 in, I think, every single APL draft. And then I took Kucherov at 3. He's more of the safe pick for me over Draisaitl. Then Draisaitl went 4. Evan, you go with Cale Makar at the 5.
I'm pretty excited. I don't normally get to draft Makar, but in the 5th spot, I don't really think there's anybody better at those top 5 that we see pretty consistently throughout pretty much every draft. And then Brian goes with Kaprizov at the 6, which I don't hate either, Brian.
Yeah, so it might be rusty, not that rusty. I like Kaprizov there. Also, I'm kind of torn between him and Matthews. I'm seeing a lot of these projections having Matthews a little higher. I know in the APL draft, he's going a little later. We talk about McKinnon and McDavid every time. We don't need to beat that to death, but I know Blake also just did an episode talking like an ADP battle with Matthews. I'm curious where you guys would feel comfortable slotting Matthews this year. He's had some of the injuries, the last couple of years, but obviously an elite goal scorer when he's healthy. Where would you feel comfortable drafting him?
Ryan, I'll let you take that first. Being a huge fan.
Yeah, so I am a Maple Leafs fan, and that has led me to really taking Pasternak over Matthews all through this offseason and all these mock drafts and all these leagues, just because I have a negative bias towards Matthews and like his injury history. Today, it came out that he's supposedly is 100% healthy, which I don't know if he's ever been 100% healthy. So that's great news. I don't know what to believe. I think as training camp starts to get going, I'll get a little more excited about Matthews, and I'll start to actually want to take him at the 7th spot, maybe even the 6th spot. Not be able to ignore my Leafs bias, whether it's negative or positive.
Yeah, I hear that. That's probably where I'm kind of considering him. Again, like I just said, I was deciding between Kaprizov and Matthews, but that's kind of where I would feel comfortable taking him. And then as we get more updates as training camp is underway, like that could sway me because I'm also a Leafs fan. So who knows what that does to your thought process when you're drafting.
Yeah, some other news that came out that Blake is reminding us of today. Pasta is dealing with tendonitis or something. I think the coach said it would be like the same as load management of why he's not practicing today. Mm-hmm. I'm not too worried about it, although I don't really know much about tendonitis. But I'll give a little update. After Matthews went at 7, Pasta went at 8, Brady Tkachuk went at 9, Jack Hughes went at 110, Jack Eichel at 111, and then Mikko Rantanen at 112. And then we had 4 straight D after that. Quinn Hughes at 2-1, Werenski 2-2, Dahlin at 2-3, and Bouchard at 2-4 before Panarin goes at 2-5. Evan, what are you feeling about the first round and the first half of the second round so far? Is everything as expected to you?
Yeah, pretty much as expected. It's fun when you see a D run like that. But yeah, I mean, first round is pretty par for the course for most of our leagues. I think honestly, like the 12 that we got here is pretty much like if we pulled like however many drafts, I think this would be like 80% of the first rounds. But yeah, it's interesting about the Pasta thing with tendonitis. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of that. It's just Sweeney said he is dealing with some tendonitis, but deemed it as load management. So I don't really know, like what to think about that. But I don't. I'm on the clock here. I picked Kyle Connor, but yeah, I'm not terribly concerned about it. Like I'm honestly in a weird way, like I'm more concerned about Matthews being 100% healthy throughout the entire season than I am Pasta dealing with this.
Yeah.
But it is something to note as you move into your drafts. But because I think you could make an argument like Pasta versus Kaprizov in some cases, but I still would take Kaprizov over Pasta. I'm pretty sure you both would as well.
Yeah, I'm taking Cap all day. Honestly, I read that update on Pass, and I honestly at this point just shrugged my shoulders. Like, okay, like he's sitting out. The coach kind of downplayed it. They need him obviously in Boston. So if there is another update that wait, he's sitting out for even longer, then I might be a little more concerned. But for the time being, I think I'm feeling okay with picking up Pasta. Like, I don't think there's too much reason to have too much nerves, I guess, going into that as well. Let's do a
Yeah.
quick recap here, and then Ryan, I'll let you speak to your pick. After Bouchard, we got Panarin, Nylander. I went with Forsberg. Evan went with Kyle Connor. We got Reinhart. Ryan goes with Marner. Hedman goes the 211. Yeah, I guess Ryan, we'll start with you. Like, what do you think about Marner? Do you feel like that's a little bit of a reach? Like, what do you like about Marner?
Yeah, no, I don't feel it's a reach at all. I'm actually very happy with the spot there. I think at that 210 spot, I was looking at my draft board and which are popular with my own projections and rankings, and there was a huge drop off after Marner for me in terms of like the top 22 players. Like everyone else was drafted very sharply before that, so I'm very happy with Marner there at the 210. I think he could have a career year in Vegas. You know, it's a new team. Maybe it doesn't gel right away, so it might cap the ceiling there. But I got him for over 100 points. And just a reminder here, if you haven't noticed, the third round has a reversal in the APL format. So after the first two snake rounds, the third round then reverses. So if so the 12th spot, the 112, is now drafting at the 3-1 rather than the guy who got McDavid, and it's a little balancing act there, and I actually really like it. So if you didn't notice that, that's what we're doing. After I went Marner, Victor Hedman went 211, Jason Robertson went 212, and then it went right back to the other end with Jake Gensel going 3-1.
Yeah, I don't really like this reversal because now Brian's gonna snipe me twice in a row. As he went Forsberg, and then I was forced to go Kyle Connor. I think they're pretty close, but I would have preferred Forsberg just with his peripheral floor. Yeah, interesting point on Marner. The more I think about it, the more I was like, well, is he really going to get to his point totals on Vegas? And I think he is. Like, I think their power play, could be considered like more lethal now than the Leafs, and he was a big part of it, quarterbacking it. So, yeah. I'm really excited to see what he does with Vegas, and I think that him falling into kind of like the mid to late second round is a great value there.
Yeah, I think of it like Marner. He's a player who likes to have the puck on his stick, right? And that's not going to change even when he's in Vegas. There's a lot of talent there, but he's going to have the puck on his stick a lot. If he can develop some chemistry early, he'll find the shooters. He knows who the shooters probably are already, so he'll be looking to get the puck on their stick. I don't think he's going to have a big drop off, if at all. It'll be really curious. It'll be really interesting to see how Eichel kind of shifts his roles if needed, because I know he took on a lot of playmaking last year when we know he also has a rocket of a shot. So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting this year.
Yeah, and we got a comment over here. Nate Dogg says, my APL draft is already done. His first 5 picks were Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Clayton Keller, Lane Hudson, and Cole Caulfield. I'm guessing he was around the 10 or 11 spot. I really like those first 5 picks. Stacking the Hughes bros. I really hope he got Luke Hughes as well later. What do you guys think about those first 5 picks for Nate Dogg?
Ooh, Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Keller, Hudson, Caulfield. Yeah, I can't hate on that too much. Yeah, that would actually be awesome if he picks up the other Hughes as well. It's just to round it out. I'm actually kind of curious. Maybe I might direct this question over to you, Evan. I see a lot of people hating on picking up Hudson as early as he has been going. And again, I'm kind of curious where you feel comfortable picking him, because I'm seeing him going in the 3rd, 4th round. And then I'm also seeing people, if they can, they try to draft him as late as they possibly can. But how big are you on Hudson? Lane Hudson.
It's an interesting spot. I think that for me, and then bringing in Dobson, not that he's going to take away his power play role, but his even strength time potentially. I don't know. I don't know that I'd draft him that high, 3rd, 4th round. To me, he still kind of falls behind, like the Josh Morrissey, Jake Sandersons, with higher peripheral floors. and better even strength ice time. So I think like 5th, 6th round, Lane Hudson is really good value considering the points he put up last year and just his elite offensive talent. But I don't know that I'm taking him that high. I would definitely take like an Adam Fox obviously over him too. Ryan, you go with Sidney Crosby, and we can recap a little bit here. I don't know where we left off, but talk to me about Sidney Crosby and your thoughts on Lane Hudson, where you're drafting him.
Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like about the Nate Dogg top 5 there. I think Lane Hudson's getting a bit overdrafted. I think that Montreal ran a bit lucky last year and might regress a little bit here. I'm completing the stack here. So yeah, the recap here, after Jake Gensel went at 3-1, we had Clayton Keller 3-2, JT Miller 3-3, Matt Boldy 3-4, then Adam Fox, then Tage Thompson, then Barkov, then Bratt, then Roman Josi, then I took Sidney Crosby, and then Adrian Kempe went, and Josh Morrissey went to close out the 3rd round, Marty Nietzsche to start the 4th round, Mo Sider at 4-2, and I took Braden Point at 4-3 to join his buddy Kucherov. Evan, you took Cap, Forsberg, then Barkov. I think you're just trying to get on Nate's good side. Nate loves Barkov this year. You think he'll return the value there at the 3rd round?
I think that was actually Brian who did that.
Yeah.
So I'll turn it to you, Brian.
I mean,
as I'm trying to look at my
getting us mixed up. It's all good. We're drafting pretty much the same spot.
It's been too long.
Yeah, you're so used to asking Evan these questions. Yeah, I like. Obviously, I like Barkov. He's an elite level center. I didn't have a center already, but my kind of thought process here is like I'm willing to take the chance on him at that point. I know he has some injury issues, but if he stays healthy, he'll stay healthy. I know, Ryan, you've brought that up a couple times about how he is hurt a lot. Has he ever played a full season? I don't even think he has. But I don't want to discount his skill, especially with Matthew Tkachuk being out for so long. More of the offense might be run through him and his line. So yeah, I think he's worth a shot there.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's a bit of a reach just because I don't know, I've seen him go much later in like almost every draft I've been a part of. Again, most of them are mock drafts, so you can't really know there. And I would probably want to play because in the last 8 years, his games played is around 70. So you're going to have to put him on IR plus, pick up a stream, which doesn't hurt so much, but it hurts his value a little bit. And because of that, I would probably hope that he'll fall back to me in the 4th round and go with maybe like a Jesper Bratt, Sidney Crosby, or an elite defenseman like Josi, Morrissey, Sider. But this is your team. You're going to prove me wrong at the end of the season, I think.
Yeah, I got to say, though, I do love Bratt. One thing I totally didn't even realize last year when I had him on my team is he hits a lot. And I would never have expected him to be someone who hits a hit a game a little bit over that. And I thought that is so valuable to have because he's also going to be putting up a lot of points, especially when Jack Hughes gets hurt. And the offense obviously running a lot through him and Nico Hischier. So, Evan, I got to give you props. I think that was a great pick, picking up Bratt there.
Yeah, I wanted to go with my boy Tage Thompson, but Bratt is right up there for me. And I'm just, the more I kind of am thinking about Buffalo heading into the year, the more uncertain I am of their holding power throughout the year. Like, I don't know that Tage repeats as well unless they consistently stick Tuck with him. And I just don't know what's going to happen, but I still love him. But yeah, Jesper Bratt is a lock for me. That was pretty easy. We can recap a little bit here. Do you guys remember where we left off? Probably at Sidney Crosby for you, Ryan?
No, probably Point.
Yeah. So Braden Point, you got at the 4-3. Then we go Ovi at the 4-4. I go Brandon Hagel at the 4-5. Brian, you get Nick Ehlers at the 4-6. Celebrini at the 4-7. Lane Hudson, who we were just talking about, at the 4-8. Tim Stutzel at the 4-9. Jake Sanderson at the 4-10. Uyghur at the 4-11. So getting their secondary D-man run. And yeah, I kind of think we've already touched on it, but I would rather have Sanderson and Uyghur over Hudson for my D-man in that spot. Got another question here. What round do you guys pick Nick Suzuki in? I think he's kind of a part of that tier of centers, the Sebastian Ahos, the John Tavares, Nico Hischier, Suzuki, like they're kind of all in a similar category to me, and I don't think you really can go wrong picking him between really like the 5th and 7th round, depending on where you get the rest of your team, like defensemen, wingers. A lot of people tend to focus on those because they're thinner than centers. But that's kind of where I'm at on Suzuki. And I actually really do love him as a player. I think a lot of people like Ryan think, and I know Nate and Blake are kind of in on this too, like Montreal like got lucky a lot last year with their scoring. I'm kind of more in the middle. I think that they have so much youth that's coming up with Caulfield and Suzuki kind of establishing, and then Lane Hudson and now Demidov. I think they're really putting it together, and I think it's only going to get better. So I'm really high on Nick Suzuki. I think he's kind of he's very underrated to me. He's kind of like a Clayton Keller, where he just puts up the points but doesn't get the name value.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like every year he slips a little bit in drafts where he's going to return a lot of value, I think, for you. But if you can get him somewhere, I would say in the 5 to 7 range as well, I'd be okay with that. Ryan, do you disagree?
Yeah. No, I agree, like 5 to 7 range for sure, but I don't think I'm drafting any of Nick Suzuki this year. I think a lot of people are hyped up. He got just about 90 points, 89 points last year, and I have him returning to, I think, 79 or 80. But again, the only reason I'm not drafting him in the 5 to 7 round range is because I think Sebastian Aho, Mark Scheifele, Dylan Larkin, guys like that, I think are falling a lot later. And I'd rather take like a 5-point step down and focus on wingers or defense in the range that Nick Suzuki is going, in my opinion.
That's interesting. You have almost like a point drop off, though. Is there a reason for that, or just because Montreal as a whole were kind of overperforming in terms of their goals last year?
Yeah, I mean, like Montreal, I think overperformed, and I have them regressing a bit. So his on ice shot volume and shooting percentage regressing a bit. He had 77 points the year prior, and 66 points the year prior, 61 points the year prior, and I'm just not convinced that he's a 90-point player. I'll need to see it two years in a row, so he can prove me wrong this year, maybe.
He's not unconvinced that Suzuki's a gamer. That guy, I'll tell you, I can't remember directly, but I swear he had a ton of overtime goals last year. Like he was clutch when they needed it most. Obviously Caulfield and Liney were the trigger men, both on the power play and just at even strength for Caulfield. But man, when it counted, he put the team on his back. I like players like that. But it's coming up on my pick. Konechny's a great pick there. It was kind of between him and this guy that I'm going, Dylan Guenther. Again, as we're kind of getting into our actual draft seasons, I've had a few of mine, and I'm sure you guys have as well. The more I'm looking into Utah, like I just really love Dylan Guenther. I think he's in line for probably a 40-goal season, 70-plus points. I'm really into that. And I don't know if you guys saw pictures of the new Utah Mammoth training facility. Looks absolutely beautiful.
No, I didn't see it.
So, I mean, they're going to be, just hitting the weights, getting all the practice, and they're going to be, feeling good, practicing good, and they're going to play good. So I love Dylan Guenther there. Got Sebastian Aho after I take Guenther, and you took Konechny, and then Ryan goes with the Brinket. Brian, talk to me about Konechny. I know you've drafted him in a few spots. I really like him too.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I like him. He's got that exposure to Mishkov as well. I think he's going to have a little bit more of a productive year this year as opposed to last year. I think just an extra year of Mishkov in the league is really going to help him as well. And he gets a lot of ice time. He's on the ice power play. He's on the ice for shorthanded as well. So I really do like that. One thing I also wanted to say about Guenther is, especially this year, Utah has a ton of off nights. So if you're picking up a guy on Utah, I think they have 33, 35 off nights. Like that's going to be really, really valuable as you're managing your team on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so after that, we got Ryan taking DeBrincat, who I also considered between him and Guenther. I know you love DeBrincat and the Red Wings. Makes me very happy, Ryan. What do you think his point total is looking like this year? Obviously, like you're thinking he's going to get 30 to 35 even more goals. Do you think he's in line for more total points as you're kind of getting into your pick here?
To be honest, no. I think he's a pure goal scorer and really just that shooter. I'm on the spot now because my boy Fiala, I thought he would drop to me at round 6, but Chris Chris just absolutely sniped me. So I'm gonna start to take some D here because I missed out on all the elite ones, and I really like Jacob Chikrin this year. He is a rare goal-scoring defenseman, and I think he'll get plenty of opportunities on the top power play in Washington this year. Even if Washington pulls back a bit on their offense, I think Chikrin should still eat.
I like that. I got Chikrin last year in a trade, and I was very happy with it. He deserves that top power play spot over Carlson, even if sometimes they had him on there over Pierre-Luc Dubois with a 2D-man setup, but I think he deserves to be on there over John Carlson.
Yeah, someone is apologizing for sniping me. Don't apologize. It just means like it was a great pick. Good job. I wish Fiala. I wish your team all the best with Fiala this year. I do have him getting a huge bounce back at 77 points for my projections.
So I really wanted to take Nick Suzuki there, but I have to go with my boy Mark Scheifele. So you went Jacob Chikrin at the 6'3", then Dougie Hamilton goes at the 6'4". I'm not interested in either of them in the 6th round for my second defenseman, honestly. I'm going to do the fade on the D-men and grab my first center, Mark Scheifele, over Nick Suzuki. He did have a career year last year, but I see no reason why that can't continue. His goal scoring really went up, 34 goals. I'm sorry, that was his projected. I think he realistically, I think could get back to point per game. He had 39 goals last year. I don't know that he gets back to that total, but I really think that he, again, is the engine that drives that offense. He's on the ice in all situations. So I really like him as a center-only option. And then Brian goes with Alex Tuck. Absolutely smash of a pick. Talk to us about Alex Tuck.
And I love Alex Tuck. And I feel like every chance I get, I'll grab Alex Tuck just because, good player, sure, but he blocks so much. And in this league settings, 0.6 for a block, I think that's very, very valuable. And if he has any sort of exposure on the power play and it plays on a line with Tage Thompson, which I know are big what ifs, but if that does end up happening, then, it's going to be a steal at the 6'6", I think. Let's do a quick recap here. After Chikrin, we got Dougie Hamilton, Evan and Mark Scheifele. Then I went with Alex Tuck, Svechnikov to follow, and then Heiskanen and Raymond. I'm going to throw Evan on the spot here. Tell me, who's your favorite pick of this round so far?
Honestly, I think you just said it. I think Lucas Raymond at the 6'9", 6th round, Lucas Raymond. I feel like a lot of people sleep on him. I know Nate and Blake did their projections on Detroit, and I think they're slowly coming around to kind of respecting him a little bit more. I think, 2 years ago it was, he gets no periffs. He's not going to get more than, 60 points. He's just kind of out there, but he's playing with Larkin. But I mean, he's the real deal, man. I think he really is honestly the best Detroit Red Wing. I think it's very easy that he can get to 85, 90 points. I know it sounds crazy, but the talent's there. He's going to be stapled to Larkin and on that top power play and facilitating. So I really like that pick there. Ryan, talk to us about your favorite pick in this round.
Yeah. Well, obviously Jacob Chikrin. It's Kevin Fiala for sure. But aside from that, I am liking Timo Meier in the 6th round or later. I think you could maybe get him in the 7th or 8th round, but I think it's time in New Jersey for him to actually be used and utilized properly. He's a great offensive threat. His San Jose days, he was just given insane minutes. He's not going to get that anymore on a nice balanced New Jersey team, but I do see him getting a bit more power play time than last year. He was stuck on the second power play unit just about all season, and I don't think that would be great to do this season. Even though New Jersey's power play was amazing, I do see Timo Meier getting a few more opportunities this year.
Love to see that.
Ryan, can I just take you back to 2021-22 where Timo Meier had 35 goals, 41 assists, 76 points, and 326 shots on goal with 162 hits? Talk to me about fantasy value there.
I'm pretty sure I drafted Timo Meier in the 12th round that year. I think if his year prior was not great, I remember I remember having a great season with Timo.
I don't know if it was that season, but I did have a good season with Timo Meyer as well. And it's because he was on the Sharks. Like, I feel like not a lot of people saw his value there. Similar to like Hurdle a few years ago too, where, you know, he's on the Sharks, but he's the guy doing everything. And Pat is commenting here, I'm surprised no one picked up a goalie yet. And that is a good point, but we're 0G here. I know Brian or Ryan is itching to pull the trigger on a Hellebuck here in this round.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to bring that up because I started thinking to myself right before I saw that comment, like, "Hey, no one's picked up a goalie yet. Should I grab Hellebuck?"
Yeah. So, Pat, welcome to the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, where Nate, the originator of the 0G strategy, has created this podcast, and now anyone on the podcast is not allowed to draft a goalie before the 7th round. But Nate just texted me, Brian. He gave you the okay at 7-7 to take Connor Hellebuck if you want it, but maybe he'll get sniped.
Watch him get taked at the 7-6 right before me. That'll be something. But I don't know if I want a goalie yet. You know, I feel like I'm really riding the 0G. I still think there's a lot of value elsewhere, but yeah, we'll
I agree.
we'll see.
It feels like I need to take a shower after I draft a goalie. It makes me sick. But no, yeah. Little recap after Timo Meyer at the 6-11, Bedard goes at the 6-12, Michkov at the 7-1. Really great pick by Nate Dogg. Matthew Nyes at the 7-2, Verhage at the 7-3. Another really good pick by Z Cole. Tavares at the 7-4, Rob Tom at the 7-5. You're going to be coming up here soon, Brian. And kind of going through some more NHL news. I'm sure you guys have both seen JT Miller named the captain of the New York Rangers. I think it makes sense. I think he is like a leader. He's probably like hard on himself, hard on everyone else, but he leads by example. He's a great playoff player, will hit, check, stand up for his teammates, net front, do all the dirty work, but also skill play. As Brian's coming up on his pick, Ryan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised because, you know, it's Miller's second or first full season with the Rangers, and
just got there.
I mean, like, it must be for good reason. We don't really know what's going on in the dressing room, and players must, you know, these things just don't happen. The coach and GM don't just get in the room and be like, boom, let's just make this guy captain. They must have talked to some players who are down with this decision, and I like it. I really like drafting JT Miller this year, especially in categories leagues or any banger weighted leagues, and this just makes it all that much better because he'll probably be counted on a little bit more.
Yeah, you know what it was? They hear him talking about Elias Pettersson in the change room, and everyone's thinking to themselves, "We don't want that to be us. Like, we don't want to be the scapegoat here. It's probably in our best interest to make him captain." And then they kind of shape it up as, "Hey, you know what? Leadership. That's what this is." So it surprised me too because I feel like he just got there, but who knows? He's a passionate player, vocal player. He puts points up. Like, it could be an easy decision, but again, we're not in the change room. We don't know what the heck they're saying, but that's my 2 cents on it.
No, Ryan, don't do it. Oh God, it's terrible. Oh,
Get up,
my.
go take a shower, get out, leave.
There we go. We had the booze come in. Yeah. So is it 0G if everyone's going 0G? That's the thing, Pat. If everyone's going 0G, Connor Hellebuck at 7-10 is still it's not 0G, but it's just great value. And Connor Hellebuck is one of the only goalies that I would do this for, especially in a league like this, APL settings, that really the goalies don't punish you for bad starts, and you're really after the volume. And Connor Hellebuck just is so consistent year after year. He's the only goalie that I can say that about. So very happy to take Connor Hellebuck at 7-10. And I do think this is later than all of the, the true APL drafts. We had some APL ADPs come out, and there were about, how many drafts? I think about like 14 leagues right now in the Apples and Ginos Patron League, and Connor Hellebuck, the ADP for him, come on, where are you? There you are, is 51. So I got him way after that. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, it's just like Brandon Ford here. No G, Ryan. I know you got the memo. So we apologize, Nate and Blake, but the 7th round, Ryan could not help himself. As he's coming up here on his next pick. I thought it'd be interesting to talk about before Ryan gets his pick. Zach Hyman gets taken at the 7-9, and another injury update. He went surgery to address his wrist injury in late May. He was rehabbing. He's no longer in a cast, and he has resumed skating, but he is not with the team for training camp. So it's unclear whether or not he's going to be ready. And this kind of gives me like shadow vibes of last year when Jason Robertson had this. It's a little bit different because J-Rob had like a benign cyst removed from his foot, but then he had such a slow start to the year. And it kind of gives me pause about drafting some of these guys that are not completely ready for training camp because they might be slow out of the gate. And then, it kind of nukes their trade value within your league. And you're kind of thinking about, well, why did I draft them here? Especially in the mid to higher rounds. Ryan, I know you just made your pick of Valnichushkin. Great job there. Kind of talk to me about that thought process. Are you kind of pausing on Zach Hyman as well? Or are you drafting him kind of at value still?
I haven't really thought about the slow start with Jason Robertson. Maybe some people are making excuses for his slow start, but I think that's just the signs of maybe someone who's a little more inconsistent. He went crazy in the second half and really in like the third quarter of the season. Almost one of the best players like point per game, but he had a real up and down season, really bad start. And I don't know how much I will, allow myself to say, yeah, that was whatever. He had a cyst removed. I don't know. So Zach Hyman, no, I think if he misses a few games, like he's taken those few games to get 100%, and he'll be back to himself. Now, the real concern is like, who is Zach Hyman, and who is Zach Hyman with Connor McDavid? Is he the 50-goal scorer, or is he the 50-point scorer? And I think we'll see that this year, and I'm somewhere in the middle of that.
I'm going to recap here. So then we got, you took Nichushkin at the 8-3. Brandon Montour goes to the 8-4. I take Tomas Hertl at the 8-5. And then Brian goes with the second goalie off the board, Andrei Vasilevsky. My button hovered over it slightly, but then I realized that I'm going to stay true for Nate and Blake this draft. And so, Brian, talk to us about your terrible pick.
I just didn't want to. All right, let me hear it. I just didn't want to be the first one to take a goalie. I was seeing a lot of value, at the 7th, 8th round to pick up a goalie, especially that are going to get a ton of starts. So I'm okay with seeing Hellebuyck go, Vasilevsky. I know Ryan's kind of talked this at length, not too far away from Hellebuyck, but to be honest, I think I feel more comfortable picking up Vasilevsky over Hellebuyck just because Hellebuyck has been so good for the last couple of years, and it's like, can you continue that on a regular basis? Like I don't know. We'll see. But I feel comfortable with Vasilevsky. There's no defense here that I like just yet. So it's kind of where I am.
Yeah, and I actually really, especially in Apples and Ginos drafts, I think the moment to take a goalie is when you're looking through your list and you're like, I don't like anyone in this range, and I think I can get all these players that I actually like a round or two later. That's when you should look at the goalies, and if they're all being faded like crazy, that's when it's like, boom, okay, I'll pull the trigger because all these guys is a reach. And so Brian, I salute you there. We are the hero G's in this league.
That's right. Can we boo Evan now just for the sake of it? Because he's not joining us.
I'm just putting on a show here because when push comes to shove, we just finished up my APL draft. And sure enough, after all this 0G talk, I actually took Andrei Vasilevsky, I think, in the 6th round. So funny enough, it was a similar situation. Yeah, exactly. The booze. Now, I will say I followed like Draisaitl, Panarin, Morrissey, Yossi. And I think I had like another center or right wing there. And it's like you said, Ryan, it's the value at where you're drafting, right? If you get to a certain spot where you're like, man, everyone sniped me on all these other positions and I can't find the value and I don't want to take a guy that I think I could get like a round or two later. It's just when the 1 or 2 goalie in the league is staring you in the face and everyone else is kind of bypassing them, you get them at value. So, a lot of times you can do that if the opportunity presents itself.
Yes, sir. And someone is liking my strategy that he loves that Ryan is punting defensemen. He thinks that some of these D that are going in the 3rd and 4th round are insane. So thank you very much for the compliments here. But I think me punting defensemen is just me missing out on like the top guys that I like and would draft there, and not really reaching for the ones that I am not so into. But I don't have a problem with where all these defensemen are going. I do like to generally get an elite defenseman up there. The only reason I'm not is because really they're being sniped from me. I think it is a bit early to, like that second round, the 2-1 to 2-4, all those top defenders there, the top 5. That's a bit early, but they are the top 5D, and they're pretty secure in those roles. And I think that's pretty close to how we'll see like all those defenders if they don't get injured. I say at least 4 of them will be in the top 10, and you're gonna want that on your D slot. What do you guys think? I know Evan, you got Makar, so you're like, I ain't worried. I got Makar, but Brian, you are punting defenseman more than me. What do you think about the defenseman spot?
I mean, yeah, you already said it best. Like, I would have loved to grab a defenseman maybe in the 3rd round, but they are all kind of taken ahead of me. So at this point, I'd rather just look for value, get some players, and then ride and die on the waiver wire for some defense. I think maybe if I don't get anyone else. But yeah, I think it's really important. If you can't get one of the top 5, you really just have to look at what's valuable, and to make your picks at value.
I think that's a great explanation. Brian deserves some applause. If you haven't noticed, we found out we have some sounds here that we can incorporate. What's gonna happen next? Right, I'll stop.
Too much of this is gonna have to get cut because most of the podcast today is just gonna be sounds and noises. We're gonna get too excited here. I love it.
So I'll do a bit of a recap. After you went Vasilevsky in the 8th, Erik Karlsson went, then Noah Dobson, Drake Batherson went at 8-9, Igor Shesterkin, the 3rd goalie off the board, went, then Charlie McAvoy, then John Carlson, and then JJ Peterka at 9-1, Ivan Demidov at 9-2, Pavel Dorofeyev at 9-3, Jake Ottinger at 9-4, Steven Stamkos at 9-5, and Brian Rust at 9-6. So within, I think, like 20 picks, we had the top 4 goalies go. So there might be a bit of a goalie run here at the top level, but then we're probably going to see a lot more people wait even longer and incorporate the 0G. And then Tom Wilson, Brian, at the 9-7, Tom Wilson. Do you think he's going to maintain more than 60 points this year?
More than 60 points, no. But I think he can get 60 points and he hits a ton. Yeah, I still like Tom Wilson. He's pretty reliable, and I wanted to fill out a little bit of the right wing. I was actually torn between him and Zibanejad, but there's other guys I think I want to plug into the center position. I know he has that dual eligibility, but I like Wilson and anyone on the Rangers. They have great off-night schedules this upcoming year. I just wanted a little bit of some Tom Wilson on my team.
Yeah, I really like how you're targeting that. And you're not necessarily reaching for the guys with off nights, which sometimes, if you really look at that, you're like, oh, yeah, I got to take this guy because of that. But if you can take your guy where he's going, really, according to the ADPs, and it's the off nights, that's where you're going to get a lot of value. And if you're filling a lot of your roster with that, I think you might win the games played battle in head-to-head matchups, which is
the goal.
Really get great.
Yeah, you need to the games played battle ends up being so crucial. Like, even if the team you're playing against has maybe a slightly better team, if you can maximize the games played, that'll give you a leg up. So yeah, it's a good start to draft guys that have off night games for sure.
Yeah, and after Tom Wilson, Zibanejad went, then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and then I took Nazem Kadri at the end of the ninth, or 9-10, and then Vinny Tro went at 9-11, and then Dylan Strome to close out the ninth round, and now we are in to double-digit round territory. We finished the first half of the draft. This is where, I still like to get some good floor guys and not necessarily like shoot for all upside. I want to target guys who are going to be, I'm probably not going to be dropping. And then in the later rounds is where I target really those upside plays. Brian, do you differ in that strategy?
No, not too much. I think, you want to kind of look for some locks earlier in the draft and then look for some value that you can get later in the draft. Typically, I think I try to find guys that are going to give me that I know are safe picks as far as probably into the 10th round. And then after that, I'll probably take a little bit of swing following that. But I want to make sure I at least have my starting lineup, like a Saturday comes around. I want to make sure I have a starting lineup that I know is going to top anyone else if I can at that point, really.
Yeah, and as I say that, I kind of go against it of what I just said, and I go with my boy Adam Fantilli at 10-3, which isn't necessarily the safest play here in the 10th round, but I'm really high on Fantilli this year compared to others. I think he had an unsustainable shooting percentage to finish the season last year. He just went crazy in scoring goals at the end of the season, but he is so talented. I think he has that finishing ability, and even if his shooting percentage goes down, I think he can up the ice time and the shot volume to really establish himself as a plus 60-point player, plus 30-goal player, and he shoots, he hits, so that gives me some nice floor there as well. And then, before Fantilli went, Ricard Raquel went at 10-1. Mackenzie Blackwood went at 10-2. So Chris is not worried about the small news of possibly being injured. And then after I took Fantilli, we had Logan Cooley go. And then Evan takes Joel Eriksson Ek at the 10-5.
Yeah, I like Jeek. Always like Jeek. If he can only stay healthy, I think he'll be able to do some things. It was really between him, Cooley, and Rupe Hintz, who all went kind of in that same range. I like all of those picks. The Mackenzie Blackwood thing's interesting because he does have injury history back to his days with New Jersey. So it's kind of interesting. It's really not a defined injury right now, but just something to keep in mind. He's still really good pick for goalie. So I think I would have to think without any major news or like surgery type stuff that I'm not going to be too concerned about it. Rupe Hintz at the 10-6, Brian. Did you have Jeek in your queue as well, or were you looking at Rupe as well?
Jeek was who I had queued. So I went scrambling. I was thinking to myself, do I reach for a defense? And I was looking around. I was like, okay, no, because all the defense are kind of taken that I wanted. So I'm like, okay, who's the next best in my queue here for centers or skaters? And went with some Rupe Hintz. I know Ryan's not a fan of anyone on Dallas this year, but I love some Rupe Hintz. You can get him late. I like the lineup he's on, so I think they're going to score some goals.
Yeah, don't put those words in my mouth. I'm not a fan of Mikko Rantanen and maybe Jason Robertson where they're going in these drafts, but you just got Rupe Hintz in the 10th round.
I know. I'm happy about it.
Even if even if Rantanen and Robertson aren't going to get the 90 points that some people might expect them to get, I still have them getting over 80 points. And if Rupe Hintz is in the middle of them, 10th round, I love that. So I like Rupe Hintz. I even like some Wyatt Johnston this year and Matt Duchene late. It's just and also I love Thomas Harley. It's literally just the top guys that I am fading because I think
they're drafting
too early for my liking. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Don't backtrack on your takes now, Ryan.
I'm not. Mikko Rantanen, book it. Nowhere over 90 points this year. Or no, I'll say nowhere over 89. I have the under there.
With the amount of Dallas slander Ryan put out in the first few mock drafts, they're going to start using him as clips at the games, like Ryan Whitney for the Oilers in Vegas when they were doing that.
Yep.
They're gonna, at Dallas games, they're going to be playing the dun, dun, Dallas dun, dun, Stars, and then they're going to be like having Ryan's clips of saying Mikko Rantanen's a mid player without McKinnon. He's only going to get 80 points.
Yeah. In the last few games, maybe with like 6 games left, and Rantanen's at 89 points, they'll just play a clip of us, and I'm gonna be saying, he ain't getting over 89 points, and then boom.
That's the fuel he needs.
Rantanen's putting 7-8 shots on net a game, just trying to get the over, proving everybody wrong. Let's do a recap here. So after Rupe Hintz at the 10-6 from Brian, we got Jared McCann at the 10-7, Philip Gustafson at the 10-8, Morgan Riley at the 10-9, Gabe Velarde at the 10-10, Jaroslav Koski at the 10-11, Darnell Nurse, the Eggman at 10-12, breaks Ryan's heart, Sam Bennett at the 11-1, Bo Horvat at the 11-2. Interesting little piece on Morgan Riley. I think I saw something about Brad Treliving having a discussion with him. I don't know what that means, but it was kind of more of a, I think, establishing his role and a leader on the team, with Mitch's departure. But it seemed like he was pretty locked in, and he's a big part of the organization, that kind of chat. I still think he's going to get that top power play. And then I did see something about the head coach talking about Michelli or Domi on the top line with Matthews and Nyes. For my money, I think it will be Michelli to start. I think Max Domi is much better suited for that third line center role and kind of grinding and everything. I think he's able to tilt the ice a little bit against other third lines that way. At least that's how I see it. Ryan, I'll throw it to you because Brian's got a pick coming up in 2 spots here. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I love when coaches just like tell us what they're thinking, and that was great because they're like, "What do you see for the top line?" And he's like, either Domi or Michelli. It's like that's what I'm thinking right now,
Yeah.
and it was great. But yeah, like I think they'll have to try Michelli first, just like see what's there, because Michelli is the new guy, and you really want to see what he can do, even in practice with Matthews. I think they know what Domi can do, and that is grab the puck and look for Matthews and pass it to Matthews. And that's what he did playing with Matthews a whole bunch. He never shot the puck at all when he was on the line with Austin Matthews. So they know what they have in Domi. And I actually did like when they were playing together. I think Matthews was able to, get to areas as Domi was holding the puck and not shooting and waiting for him. And I think they had some chemistry. So either way, I don't think either of these players are really fantasy relevant. I think Michelli has definitely a higher ceiling, but yeah, Max Domi, if he's on the line with Austin Matthews, you're going to see like 15 goals, maybe 40 assists for 55 points as a total ceiling. So that's not really draftable in a 20-round league, in my opinion. But Michelli, I think he has a lot more skill. So if he's on that top line, that's a sleeper that I'm interested in the last few rounds of drafts.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And once we see some of these lines shaking out through training camp and even some of the first few games, because I feel like Michelli's not going to be drafted in a lot of spots. It could be nice there. And you go with the absolute Band-Aid, Mark Stone, Brian. But yeah, it's hard for me to think that he's not going to be close to like 65 plus points if he can stay healthy, which he's not going to. But go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Stone, he had a great year last year when he was healthy. I think Vegas got a little bit better. I'm okay with taking a flyer on him at this point. Yeah, he's going to miss some games for sure, but I'd rather have him on my team than someone else have him on their team, and it opens up a free spot on my roster to stream a couple people. So that's my logic in picking him up. Will he be on a lineup with Marner? I don't know. Will he stay in top power play? I don't know. But yeah, from where I'm getting him, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. And I go with Dustin Wolf, just trying to piss Ryan off as it's his favorite goalie of the year. But yeah, the more I look at Dustin Wolf's stuff and Calgary as a whole, I really like it. And he's going to get that volume. So really like Dustin Wolf this year as a goalie pick as Ryan is on the clock. And then Dylan Cousin goes after that at the 11-9. And Ryan goes with Colton Parayko.
Yeah, I'm in the D territory where, I'm looking for these high floor guys. Colton Parayko scored way too many goals last year. I don't think that will happen again, but he is going to be close to a league leader in blocks. And that'll pick up a nice floor for him. And in the D slots here, I'm gonna get a little bit of a safe floor here and there. But I was looking at Dustin Wolf. I really like Dustin Wolf. I can't stop drafting him, especially like if he's going as the 9th or 10th goalie off the board. I just think he's going to get way too many starts, and yeah.
I love
Can't hate on it.
A young Mika Kiprusoff, Kiprusoff, love that. The similarities end at red hair and on Calgary, but I love Dustin Wolf. I'd be really curious to see how Calgary does this year. But I think it starts with the goalie out front. So they have a stud in net, which really helps. I look at a team like Toronto for, forever they relied on their offense, and then they finally shored up their defense. They got some studs on the back end, and then all of a sudden they were a very hard team to play against. Mind you, they didn't win the cup this year, but it might be coming in the next couple of years. Who knows? You need a good goalie to kind of get your team where they want to be, and Dustin Wolf is a stud in the back end.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on this. He wasn't that consistent last year. If you know anything about my true value goalie rankings, I make these things on really goalie consistency, and it's strictly to be utilized for category leagues that are head-to-head. And in those category leagues, you're not just wanting starts, because really bad starts are gonna like make you lose maybe 3 categories that week. So you really want the consistent goalies, not the ones who are insane one week and terrible the next week, because then you're 1-1 there, and or 3-3. So Dustin Wolf wasn't really that guy last year. It's who knows, maybe he can be this year. So I'm not really targeting him in those categories leagues, but in these points leagues, he's gonna get 60 plus starts. He just got a huge contract. There's no one behind him, and I'll be drafting him in all leagues that really value the volume.
So after, I believe we left off on your pick of Colton Parayko at the 11-10, then it went Shane Gostisbehere at the 11-11, William Macklin at the 11-12, Aiden Hill at the 12-1, Gabe Landeskog at the 12-2. Briefly touching on that too, I saw some news out of Colorado. I think one of the beat writers was writing a piece. It sounds like from Jared Bednar that they're not going to be, at least what they're saying is they're not going to be load managing him, and that he's good to go, and that he didn't come back all the way from this 2-year recovery to just be a part of the team, is what I saw the quote to be. So I think that's interesting. I don't think that he can make that decision himself without completely, blowing his knee out again, but we'll see how it shakes out. I still like Gabe Landeskog in like the later rounds, like this 12th round left wing Gabe Landeskog. It looks like Chris's 3rd left wing. I really actually like that. Probably 60-point upside with good perif shots, hits. Him and Nady Mack got some work to do, and I think they're on a bit of a revenge tour after this last year in the playoffs. Ryan, it looked like you wanted to jump in there.
Yeah. I just I tend to overreact as soon as I hear all these little tidbits of this little comment over here, and I'm like, oh my god, Gabriel Landeskog, boom, he's gonna be over a point per game player again. And then after like a minute or so, I'm like, okay, here, let's tone back the excitement a little bit. But I think it's good to hear that there's not like a plan in place, but. Really, like, is Gabriel Landeskog as good as he used to be? I don't think so. Will he be used like he used to be? Yeah, maybe. And if he is, the 12th round is going to return great value for you. And if he's not, if he gets put down to the 3rd line, 2nd power play, these are the players that you might just have to drop. And that's okay in the 12th round. You're taking a swing here.
Yeah. And then recapping further after that, Ilya Sorokin at the 12-3, Marchessault at the 12-4. I go Sean Monahan at the 12-5. You go Jake Wellman, Brian, at the 12-6. I look at him in drafts too, I feel like he's at value with his peripheral floor. And then I think a lot of people, myself included, kind of thought, well, he's only going to be PP2, so that really kind of nukes his value. But he does well enough at even strength, especially playing alongside Draisaitl and McDavid to get some of those even strength points.
Yeah. And what I thought was interesting, they started to do it towards the end of last year when Edmonton acquired Wallman. But when they had an extra skater out there, it was actually Wallman out there for a lot. So I think if someone goes down in the top power play, Bouchard goes down, he'll be the next up. And at this point, my first defenseman gives me a good peripheral floor with those blocks. And yeah, I'm happy with picking up my first defenseman in Jake Wallman here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I was, I have him ranked just below Parayko, and I was really like, yeah, I want to take Wallman, but I took Parayko instead. So I left the gift for you, Brian. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. It's my welcome home present for being away for 2 weeks. So I appreciate that.
For 2 months, 2 years. I mean, yeah, it's been a while.
We had a comment by Pat. If you had to pick one between Leo Carlsson, Will Smith, and Mason McTavish, for me, it would personally be Mason McTavish. I think he's a grinder. He can shoot, hit. He's going to be top power play. I like Leo Carlsson. I think the talent's there. I just don't know that he's going to get the peripheral floor that McTavish does. And same thing with Will Smith. If it was guaranteed he was going to play with Celebrini the whole year, I'd take him. But Brian, I'll throw it to you first. Who do you like between those?
Yeah, I hate agreeing with you, but it would be McTavish. Also, considering Anaheim has, again, the best off-night schedule, I think they're all pretty similar. I think Will Smith is probably the best talent, to be honest, and then exposure to Celebrini, but I think I'd actually lean McTavish there.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning the same way, especially with Anaheim's off nights there. McTavish, he's just the safest player there. I do think that he has the lowest upside of all those players. So if you're really just shooting for the upside, I might go Will Smith, probably then McTavish, and then Leo Carlsson. But yeah, I really like Will Smith's upside. I just don't know if it'll hit this year.
Yeah. Another comment. Love the Marchessault pick. Could be a huge steal this late. Marchessault was drafted at the 12-4. It's weird. Yeah, I think Marchessault does have that potential. Obviously, we've seen him do it before, 40-goal scorer with Vegas, but it's so weird to me, his role with Nashville, kind of really, to me, the trigger man behind Forsberg and Stamkos. Ryan, I'm coming up on my pick. What do you think about Marchessault this late and just overall heading into this year?
Yeah, I think this late, like he's one of these picks that he should get 60+ points, and it's like a boring pick where there's not really much upside anymore right now, and especially with how terrible Nashville was last year, maybe there's a little bit of a bounce back, but he's falling in drafts, and at the 12th round, I think he'll still return value even if there's no huge bounce back. And then after, did we recap the round here?
You're on the clock, so we can definitely recap. You already knew.
Yeah. So at the 13-1, Jacob Markstrom goes, and then Pierre-Luc Dubois goes at 13-2, and then Cutter Gauthier at 3, Zeev Buim at 13-4, then Matt Duchene, then Aaron Ekblad, then Shabbat, and then Darcy Kemper. Evan, you pair Dustin Wolf and Darcy Kemper together. I really like that. And then Sam Renzel goes, and then I take Frank Petrano just for a nice floor player on off nights. And then Devin Tays goes at 13-11. And Brian, you went Wallman and then Shabbat. So you got 2 D. Are you going to go 4 straight D here? What are you thinking?
No, I won't do that, but I'm looking at the defense that is available. It's very few in between. And I just think Shabbat gives me a little bit extra than what the others do at this point. So I don't have a power play quarterback, unfortunately, but they'll give me some points in other categories, I guess, which would help as well. So yeah, I'll probably stick with 2. And my next pick for sure won't be a D-man. I promise you that, unless the next 3 picks are screwing me over. So we'll see. And that's one of them. That just screwed me over. I was hoping to get Bob, so that's not a good start.
Yeah, and we have a comment in here. Fantasy Puck, welcome in. Is that Helly in round 7? Yes, welcome to an Apples and Ginos draft. This is what these things, this is what they look like. We're all doing 0G, and when everyone does 0G, you know, it might pay to be that guy to take the first goalie, which I did at 7-10.
Just more patting on the back for his goalie picks.
Yeah, I will. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to pat myself on the back, and maybe convince you guys to pat me on the back as well. That's
Good job,
what,
Ryan. Give him
Great
the round
job.
of applause, someone, please.
Yeah. You know, it's just, you know, very, very easy.
There you go.
I will say this is like one of our drafts. Like, I mean, Hellebuck, this might be the latest we've ever had Hellebuck go.
I think so.
So, yeah, that is spot for sure. I feel like I want to say, like, even in Apples and Ginos, I don't think he falls this far through drafts, because I feel like if you're looking at him in the 6th round, you'd really have to kind of consider hitting that draft button unless there was somebody that you really liked. So recapping a little bit here too. So Ryan took Frankfurt Toronto at the 13-10, Dave on Tays 13-11, Morgan Geeky at the 13-12, really good value. Zane Perek at the 14-1, Owen Tippett at the 14-2, Pionk at the 14-3. You take him, Ryan, and then Bobrovsky at the 14-4. I go Cam Fowler at the 14-5. I'll kind of start here. I was really hoping to get in on one of these rookie defensemen, Buyam, Rinzel, or Perek, and they all go before I could get back to me. So solid sniping by everyone here. So I was forced to go with Cam Fowler, but I'm interested your take here, Ryan, on Neil Pionk after kind of his explosion of a season. Do you think he falls back to what we know in like a 30-point defenseman with decent periffs, or can he get back to that kind of 40 to 50-point mark?
Yeah, no, I have him coming back to Earth. I think he left Earth for a bit last season, as I think a lot of Jets players did. I have most of them regressing a little bit. But he's that second guy up, and unless they trade for another defenseman, you know, if Morrissey ever goes down, Pionk should be getting top power play time on a pretty great power play. And even without that, he does provide some good peripherals to provide a good floor. And at this point, with all these defensemen, especially with all these rookie defensemen being sniped before with all that upside, there's limited upside here to grab our last couple of defensemen.
That's right. And then Brian goes with Linus Olmark at the 14-6. That's a great 0G strategy. I think he's really, honestly, a great goalie. And then Ottawa, you have to believe, can only get better. So really like that pick. Is that kind of your thought process there, Brian?
Yep, you nailed it. Don't even spend much on that. That's it.
Nice.
Pat with another comment. Thoughts on Klingberg for an undervalued power play quarterback 1? Yes and no. I think I've seen enough of John Klingberg in my life over the years, but I don't think it's the worst. Like, if you want to take a swing on him as like your last defenseman, I don't think he's being drafted in a lot of spots, to be honest. And I don't know that he stays there the whole year, but definitely to start, you could do worse for a 4th or 5th defenseman in your league is my thoughts on Klingberg. Brian, what do you think about Klingberg?
Yeah, Klingberg, I think his best days are behind him. Mind you, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. So are we going to see an Erik Karlsson-esque? No. In San Jose, we're putting up a 100-point season? Absolutely not. I think he could return some value, but I wouldn't be reaching for him. But yeah, I think you could, in most leagues, I think you could even get him off the waiver wire if they have a great schedule. I just think there's a lot of other defensemen that would give you more upside or more points that you're actually going to need and want on a regular basis.
Ryan?
Yeah, especially in this range, as we're looking at all these defensemen that are kind of like gross to draft, but you might have to here. Yeah, I'm staying away. You guys hit the nail on the head there. I'm not touching John Klingberg until I can maybe pick him up on waivers if they're crushing the power play there.
Fair point. And so recapping even further after Linus Olmark, I think for Brian, Sam Montembeau at the 14-7, Dostal at the 14-8, Will Cooley at the 14-9, Drew Doughty at the 14-10, Stolars at the 14-11, Kane at the 14-12, Swayman at the 15-1, Bennington 15-2, Ryan O'Reilly at the 15-3, Thatcher Demko at the 15-4, Granlund at the 15-5, McTavish at the 15-6, and you go with Chris Kreider, Brian, at the 15-7. Talk to us about Kreider.
I don't think he can get much worse than he did last year. Didn't he have single-digit assists? That's crazy. And again, going back to the off-night schedule in the 15th round, he could return a better value than you got him at last year. Going to score some goals with Anaheim. They have the best off-night schedule. And yeah, I already have the left wing, like in terms of my starting lineup, I guess I have a left wings already set, which is why I think it's great to kind of pick him up for those off nights. And again, there was also a couple other people I didn't want to reach for quite yet. So why not take a shot on him?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree. I'm really interested to see where he's going to slot in, even strength, and kind of what he's going to do with his first year in Anaheim there. I do think he has that kind of leadership pedigree and kind of that veteran status that will hold with that room. And then Joel Quenneville, I'm sure, will like him too for that and kind of lean on him. We had like a decent goalie run here in the 14, 15 rounds with some of these guys, like between Olmark, Montembeau, Dostal, Stolar, Swayman, Bennington, and Demko. That's kind of a good category of goalies, and I feel like it could go a lot of different ways throughout the year. Like, Demko, if he stays healthy, if they lean on him, can he get back to form? He could easily outclass the rest of these. Swayman, similar story. Like, we've seen what he can do. Is he going to be better this year on a Boston team that's losing Marchand and not really seemingly getting much better? Dostal is going to take over the number one role. So interesting to see how that all plays out. And then another goalie goes, similar thing, Karel Vejmelka at the 15-9, as we saw, I believe it was the GM saying that the plan is to place Connor Ingram on waivers. So I think Veggie Sticks here has got another good opportunity. I feel like a lot of people are drafting him just assuming he's going to be the number one. But then when it was announced that Connor Ingram was out of the players assistance program, there was kind of this thought, well, is it going to be more of a 60-40, 50-50 share? So I think a lot of people then kind of backtracked on, is Vejmelka really worth drafting? But I think he is now. And I think
that surprised me. I don't know if that surprised you too, but I thought for sure he was going to be playing in Utah, have a little bit of a split with Vejmelka there. So yeah, I don't know. Evan, did that surprise you seeing Utah's announcement that they're going to put him on waivers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's proven that he could be a very reliable NHL goaltender. So yeah, it did kind of surprise me. We really don't know what happened, obviously, with the player assistance stuff, but there has to be something there in terms of like kind of what they feel as their long-term solution between him and Vejmelka, and the Vanacek too. But it was definitely a surprise to me. Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, for sure. I think honestly, I think they just had their plan with the Veg and Vanacek, not knowing if Connor Ingram was going to return, and then boom, he's back. So they did say like this gives him an opportunity to play. He either gets drafted to a team that will be starting him more than us, or he'll go and play in the AHL. So I was a little surprised, but I like it for Vejmelka. And then that's not Carol. I'm just gonna call him Carol. Carol Vejmelka. After Vejmelka goes, I took Kent Johnson in the 15th round. I really like his upside. Really pairing him maybe with Fantilli at even strength on my team, so that's cool. And then Anze Kopitar goes at 15-11. Logan Thompson at 15-12. Matt Zucchini Man Zuccarello at 16-1. Nick Schmaltz at 16-2. And then I did grab, one of these last remaining rookie defensemen who has some upside in Alexander Nikishin. I think even if he doesn't make it on the power play, he should get a little bit of bangers in. He'll get some hits and maybe he'll get some blocks. I'm not really projecting him for a lot of blocks just on Carolina. They don't really do that because they have the puck the whole game, so they don't need to block. So we'll see about Nikishin. If he gets into some offense, that's great. If he doesn't, I might need to find a new emerging power play 1 defenseman on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I like that. I actually had Nikishin in my queue, but I actually never really thought of that. That's a great point to bring up. Carolina, they don't have to block because they have the puck the whole time. And that's another thing you kind of have to take into consideration when you're looking at some of these teams. You look at the player value, sure. You also have to take into consideration like the coaching environment, the team environment, how they play the game, because that all differs from team to team as well.
Yeah, and if you look at all the defensemen on Carolina, no one really sticks out in big block numbers. Slavin, he's one of the best defensive guys in the game, and he's not anywhere near the league lead in blocks. And so I just don't see Nikishin coming in and getting more blocks than every other Carolina defenseman.
Exactly. After you went with Nikishin, we got Stewie Skinner going at the 16-4. Rasmus Anderson. I went with Brant Clark, Will Smith, and then Tyler Sagan. Evan, talk to me through your process of picking a defenseman here.
Yeah, I kind of went my prior 2 defensemen. I got Makar, so that was nice. But to me, I went Luke Hughes with my second defenseman. So I'm really betting on him to kind of take over from Dougie this year. So I don't hate that pick, but it's still kind of not a for sure thing. And then so I went with Cam Fowler, who's a great power play quarterback, and I think he's going to keep that role for St. Louis. And I wouldn't be shocked to see him get like a 50-point plus season with very minor periffs, but at least the points will be there. So because I have no periffs in there, I went with Rasmus Anderson, who does get some really good periffs with 196 blocks last year with 163 shots. So I really like that, and I think he's pretty good for like 30 points as well. Locking up the periffs there. And then you go Brant Clark. I really would like to see them put him on the top power play, but then that leaves Quentin Byfield off of it most likely. Where do you see him settling in, Brian? Brant Clark and kind of that LA power play?
I'm hoping that Brant Clark takes Drew Doughty aside, talks to him one-on-one and says, listen, old man, the time is now. So that's kind of what I'm banking on, that Brant Clark takes over the power play 1. He has the skill. They don't give him any ice time, really, unless he does take over that power play. Drew Doughty did just get hurt last year, missed a lot of the season last year. He doesn't normally miss a lot of games, so it might be the beginning of a big decline for Drew Doughty. And at that chance, with that in mind, I think it's worth taking a risk on Brant Clark because he very well could take over power play 1. And yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, someone it seems like a different guy, but we answered a question about McTavish, Will Smith, and Leo Carlsson, and it looks like Sean, who's drafted next to you, Brian, he went McTavish in the 15-6, and then he stacked it with Will Smith in the 16-7. Is he gonna take Leo Carlsson in the 17th round? We'll see.
He's probably cursing you right now, thinking out loud, like, why would you say that? Now someone's going to target them. That would have been great if he went just right after that, but he didn't. I was just going to quickly recap. After I went with Brant Clark, like we just said, Sean went with Will Smith, Tyler Sagan, Coronado, Nelson, Marchand, Kiefer the B for Sherwood, Evander Kane, Brock Faber, and now we're at the 17-3. So, gentlemen, are you guys targeting Leo Carlsson in this round? Is that what you're looking for?
Not personally.
All right. So, Sean, you heard it here. You're good.
I don't know. I'm not telling. I might take him if you don't take him, Sean.
if he lets him get to you, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and then I really like. I do want to highlight Coronado here.
Yeah.
I really like him. He's a shooter and a goal scorer, and those are the skilled players that I tend to love in fantasy because they're going to pick up loads of shots. When he develops and really comes into his own as a really top line NHL player, he's going to be in that 250 shot on goal range, maybe even 40 goal range. I'm not saying that'll happen this season, but that's the type of fantasy player he'll become, and I really like that for Coronado. I think there's an opportunity that he starts to develop into that this season, maybe a little more at the end of the season. But he was playing on the top power play to end last season, and I think he has a shot to start there this season.
Yeah, Hope to see it. Oh, you son of a gun! That was the only center I was queuing here. All right, got to go back to the drawing board here, gentlemen.
As Brian goes back, because Elias Lindholm was taken at the 17-5 and Joey Decord after that. You got to wonder if Elias Lindholm has anything more to bring to the table this year for Boston. I was a big believer in drafting him last year, thinking he was going to be staple at the pasta and first power play all year. And to start, it didn't really end up that way. And his point production didn't really reflect it either. He does get some decent periffs, including hits and blocks, but outside of that, I'm not too excited about Elias Lindholm. Do you see him having a bit of a bounce back or kind of somewhere in the middle, Ryan?
No, I'm not too excited about him either. I like, again, in this range, sure, yeah, I'll take him, and he won't be a drop. He'll be playing each night, but if it's on those heavy nights, he'll probably be ending up on your bench. He does have like that top power play locked in. So oh man, look at these snipes happening in the 17th round. Anyways, about Elias Lindholm. So like he's very secure. He has a very high floor, and you can take that in the 17th round easy. After Lindholm goes, Joey Decord goes, and then Brian takes Chris Letang, and Evan snipes Marco Casper from me. Brian, Chris Letang, what do you like about him?
Yeah, Chris Letang, I think, I mean, the points obviously might not be there, but the peripherals absolutely are. And we know that Pittsburgh is a ship that is sinking. And what that's going to mean is that the other team's going to have the puck a lot more, which means he's going to have to block and hit a lot more. Maybe not a lot more, but enough to make it worthwhile to take him at this point. And he can still score somewhat. We don't really know what Pittsburgh's going to do on the power play. I know they tried him there for a little bit. Then they went with Grizzlechick for a bit. They had Carlson on there. So if guys get traded, I'm totally fine with having Chris Letang because I don't think he's going to get traded. And yeah, he'll give me those extra little goodies that I want at this late in the round, this late in the draft.
Yeah, I could see him being like that top guy again on the top power play if Erik Karlsson maybe gets traded at the deadline, and then for fantasy playoffs, you got yourself a 40-point pace Chris Letang on the top power play, which is a lot better than a 30-point pace one.
There you go. After I went with Chris Letang, you got Marco Casper, Spencer Knight, Poppy Beast rolling up with 4 straight goalies. Ryan goes with Jake DeBrusk, and then we got Tony DeAngelo at the 17-11, nice. And we're just finishing up the 17th round.
So Evan, Marco Casper, this is someone I really like. He's still very young, so I'm not sure if last year all of that success when he was moved up to the top 6, if that will continue, if it's true. But he found some great chemistry with DeBrincat and Kane, and I think he's like that 6th guy up on the power play 1 unit. So if there's any injuries, I think we're going to see a lot better stuff from Casper. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you said. He bangs too, man. He hits. He's got a really good, like, underrated shot and good facilitation. Great positioning out there with Kane and DeBrincat, and I think it would be a mistake to kind of break that chemistry or that line up. I think obviously Larkin's got the top line with Lucas Raymond settled in. Yeah, the question is really his power play status, which I don't think he'll get there this year, or at least the beginning to start, but do still really like his even strength exposure. Yeah, I think could easily be in for a 50 to 60 point season with some good periffs. Yeah, I really like the player. And then, so let's see, recapping here, after Spencer Knight, the 17-9, Ryan went with Jake DeBrusk, then Tony DeAngelo, Hanifin. I hear the music for his picks. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Scott Wedgwood, and he went with Lafreniere as he was forced into this pick. Was that a panic pick, or were you kind of had that dialed in there, Ryan?
No, I was thinking about him at the, when 30 seconds was left, and I was like, okay, what scenarios will make this pick worthwhile? And I thought of enough scenarios. So, yeah, Lafreniere, I don't know how you say his name, but he was really elevated last year into the top 6, and I think that's where he'll stay. I don't think he necessarily will have that top power play, but yeah, I like him here in the 18th round.
Do you want to know why I like him at this point? And you know, you don't even have to answer because I'll tell you. This is why I like him. So we're in the 17th round. Typically, as the season goes on, you're usually dropping some guys into the late rounds. And what's nice with the schedule in the regular season coming up is LA plays the first 2 days. So even if you decide, hey, my team's stacked, I need to drop someone, you at least have those 2 extra games with LA playing on the Tuesday, Wednesday. And if you want to drop them there, you can. And just opens up some spots to stream a couple more guys so you can maximize those games. So Ryan does a big brain move. I like it.
Yep, you read my mind. I was totally thinking about all that as my time was ticking down. I had time to think about all that. No, that's great, Brian. You are bringing some sharp stuff today. I like it. We missed you.
Love that. And after Lafreniere, we go Arturi Lehkonen at the 18-4. Great pick. I go with Kuzmenko, who is going to get back to his 40-goal potential, 70 points, top line, top power play with LA. Book it. Kevin Fiala, who in like the whatever round he was, 6th. You know, we got Andrei Kuzmenko here in the 18th round, Ryan. And then Brian goes with Tyson Forrester. Someone talked me out of that. Someone talked me out of how Kuzmenko is not going to get 40 goals again.
Well, you know what he's going to do? He's going to play 2 games in the first 2 days, and he's going to get you up. He'll get you 1 power play assist for you, and then if you want, you could drop him. There you go.
Yep, absolutely. They played back-to-back in the first week, I believe. Is that like a Tuesday, Wednesday slate?
Yeah, there's only
tough games, though.
I think 2 teams play the back-to-back in the Tuesday, Wednesday. It's LA and I want to say the Rangers or Chicago, one of those other 2. But yeah, in the APL draft we finished up, I noticed the very last round, everyone just picked up someone on LA to finish the draft out. It was great to see.
Nice.
I did the same. I grabbed Kopitar, I think, in one of my last 2-3 picks. So felt pretty good about that. And we got Pat commenting again. Lehkonen's ADP dropped a lot. I agree that it has, and I think a lot of it has to do with Nichushkin and Landeskog being healthy and back. But I still think Lehkonen is in a decent spot. He should be on that top line with McKinnon and Nietzsche to start the year. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be on the power play, but Drouin moves on, even though they liked trotting him out there on the first power play, even though he had no business being there. But we'll see. I think throughout the year, he'll probably find his way back up to the top power play at times, and it could be a decent little pick. It's just tough to hold on to him through his spurts where he does nothing. I feel like Lehkonen would go off last year for 2-3 points when he got the opportunity, but then if he's on the second line, second power play, looking at a bunch of zeros for a few games. Either of you, Brian, Ryan, have thoughts on Lehkonen this year?
Yeah, for me, Lehkonen is one of those guys. I feel like there's a lot on Colorado that will be interchangeable on that top power play. And not to mention they will get hurt at some point. So yeah, I think he'll get on the power play for a little bit. I think he'll be off it. I think will get some exposure to McKinnon, which helps, but then I think he'll be shifted off. So I actually had Lehkonen in my queue as well. I like Lehkonen, especially in this range, but yeah, I don't see him putting up 70 points or something like that. You're not going to get that, but I think at this pick in the draft, it's great value.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if maybe Nichushkin misses some time for some weird reasons, and then Landeskog also, misses some time, and then maybe also Marty Nietzsche gets injured. Boom! All of a sudden, you have Lehkonen tied at the hip with McKinnon, and that's where maybe he would get a 70-point pace if he's playing every minute with McKinnon.
Yeah, no, God, Val is such a great player, man. I remember 2 years ago grabbing Val. I don't know if it was off waivers, but man, when he can just stay healthy, for lack of a better term, stay out of trouble, given the opportunity on that top line, top power play, he is an absolute beast, especially in the playoffs when he kind of proved it when they won the cup. We got another comment here from our Boomer. How do you think Carter Gauthier slots in this year? I think he slots in really well. I think kind of in these later round picks, left wing Carter Gauthier could easily be in for 30 goals. I've been mocked by some of my friends saying Carter Gauthier would get 30 goals. They kind of want to play the soundbite over and over of me saying that and then proving me wrong this year. So maybe you guys can talk me into some good faith for Carter Gauthier this year.
I mean, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I thought I was really high on Gauthier when I did my projections, and I was like, okay, looks like I'm super high on Gauthier. And then Nate and Blake released their projections, and then I heard Evan talking about him, and I'm like, wait, maybe I'm the low one on Gauthier. So I have him projected for 27 goals and 50 points. I don't have him getting tons of power play time, so I think he's limited there, and I'm really. I want to wait and see what Anaheim does with the power play. They really did a lot of split power play time. Last season, we have the new coach, John Quenville, in there, and maybe he does load up a top unit. Maybe Cutter Gauthier gets there, and that's where I see 60 points feasible for him.
I think he really came in like the second half of last year and kind of proved that he could, provide some of that goal scoring and point production. With Zegras leaving, but they bring in Granlund and Kreider. I just don't know how long the experiment's going to last for Quenville. I kind of see it playing out like Anaheim's going to probably play some of these guys too much. Like I feel like Quenville may rely on them a bit too much at even strength or even on the power play. But you got to kind of turn over the keys to your young players with the elite talent to develop them, and I think that's really what they should do. Whether or not that happens is another story. But I'm an optimist when it comes to Cutter Gauthier. I think he's got something to prove after being stoned by the Philly fans for his decision there, which it'll be interesting to see. But I don't know. You guys, any Philadelphia Flyers fans that are watching right now? I went short little story. I went to Philly for a game against the Detroit Red Wings, and my wife and I were wearing Detroit Red Wings jerseys, and we even lost the game. I think it was like a 2-1, 3-2 game, and we were getting popcorn thrown on us as we went down the escalators, just jeered at. Those Philly fans are ruthless, man. I got no love for the Flyers. But yeah.
That's hilarious.
Nice. So I'll do a little recap. I don't know where we left off, but I'm going to pick up in the 19th round. 19-1, we had Anders Lee, then Patrick Laine, then Voronkov, then Machelli, then Philip Hronik, then Olin Zellweger, and then Brian takes Travis Sanheim. Evan takes Maxim Shabanov, and then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen goes as the fifth goalie for Poppy Beast. And then I take Connor McMichael, then Joseph Woll goes, then Jake Neighbors, then Michael Misa, and Marco Rossi, and then I take Jimmy Snuggerud, the Snuggle Monster, in the last round. And then Pappy Beast takes a sixth goalie with Peter Kochetkov.
A little bit of a troll job here.
No, it's I think he disconnected. It looks like he's on auto draft.
That would be funny going 0G drafting six goalies though. I like that.
Yeah. And then Evan, you take Semaskevich with your last pick. Brian, you take Tuvo Teravainen. And then we have Zach Benson, then Logan Stankoven, and then Jet Greaves, the 0G hero of 2025. You'll see.
This year's Vezina. Book it.
That's right.
Yeah. And then Matthew Schaefer goes, and then Matthias Ekholm goes, and now Nate Dogg is closing us out with his last pick. And he did ask us to take a look at his team, so we're going to do that right here. He goes Rantanen, Quinn Hughes, Gensel, Caulfield, Sergachev, Bedard. We're done the draft. Michkov, Carlson, Paterka, Nurse, Bennett, Jenner, Jacob Markstrom, Kane, Patrick Kane, Jeremy Swayman, Kiefer Sherwood, and Evander Kane, Jacob Trouba, Anders Lee, and he goes John Gibson last there. And my initial thoughts here, all I see is Mikko Rantanen at the
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
That's all my eyes are looking at. So I'll let you guys comment on his team there.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, listen, what I'll say is we'll skip Mikko Rantanen. I really do like the Quinn Hughes, Jake Gensel pickups. And I'll stop there and I'll let Evan digest the rest. What do you like? What do you not like? I know we're not a fan of Mikko Rantanen at the 12 spot. We're seeing it a lot, but we're also trying to discourage people also from taking Rantanen there. Evan, what do you think?
Speak for yourself, Brian. I love the Rantanen pick.
All right.
No, I'm curious though. So let's just a little experiment. So Ryan, especially, but you too, Brian. Who are you guys? It's like you're in the 12 spot, and then this is kind of how the draft goes. And he knows he has the back-to-back, so he grabs Quinn Hughes, which I don't dislike. You want to grab either Quinn Hughes or Werenski here, I think. Who do you get then instead of Rantanen? Are you going one of Panarin, Kyle Connor, Forsberg, kind of a left winger, or Forsberg? Okay, yeah. I was thinking for me it'd be Panarin, but yeah, it is tough because, you know, with what Rantanen has done, it's very difficult to kind of like shake that in the top round. But I don't think I can fault people too much for it. I personally wouldn't do it. I agree with that kind of take, but I don't think it's as egregious as some might say.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing is we're gonna see.
I'm taking Forsberg there too, and one of those elite D as well.
The rest of his team, though, there's definitely some spots here. Bedard in the 6th, I think you can do well with. Michkov in the 7th, really good. I mean, he has the steal of the draft here with the Eggman at 10-12. Boone Jenner, I really like. Markstrom, I really like. And then some of these beefers at the end could do well too. Kiefer Sherwood and Evander Kane. So, yeah, I do like Nate Dogg's team.
Trouba with the blocks on the off nights. We love that. I like Trouba. You know, I've eyed him a lot in these drafts when it's more than, 16 rounds, like 20, 24. I try to get him somewhere in the end of the draft, and I always get snagged in like the round before I want to pick him up. And I guess that's just the way she goes sometimes. But I would prefer Forsberg there. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean they're listening to you. Maybe you've said it a couple of times, but they're reading your mind and they're being like, Brian wants Trouba in the 19th round. I need to take him in the 18th.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but Nate Dogg, he also drafted 5 total defensemen: Quinn Hughes, Sergachev, John Carlson, the Eggman, Darnell Nurse, and then Jacob Trouba at the end there. That's not terrible because of Trouba's off nights. But me personally, I like going 4D and going from there. And then if there's someone I really need to pick up, I'll pick up a 50. I just don't like drafting a 50 if there's only 4 spots. I want all my bench spots to be all my forward positions when the points are higher. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm the same. Actually, in our APL league, I actually finished the draft with only 3D because I couldn't find anything else that I wanted to get at value, which I'm okay with. But yeah, I think D especially, you're generally getting D, man, unless you're getting one of the top guys, you're generally getting them for those peripherals. At some point, especially if you're in like a categories league, let's say. So you can definitely fade that a little bit. And there's usually someone on the waiver wire you can pick up to fill those spots, whereas it's a lot harder to pick up, obviously, someone that's going to put up 40 goals, 50 assists, something like that. So, yeah, Ryan, I think we share the same sentiment there. Evan, I'll let you answer as well. We don't want to cut you off, but as I do that, I wanted to bring up this question here. So, Evan, I'll let you answer, and then we'll get to this question.
Oh, no. With what now? With what question? I feel like, for his team. I think I did it, didn't I?
Oh, did you talk about? Oh,
I think I did. I said that I was not as bad on Rantanen. Maybe you just blocked me out, Brian. You didn't want to hear what I had to say.
You're right. Okay, moving on then. How do you guys weigh drafting players for off nights with good schedules with things like dual eligibility, positioning, and VORP? I'll take this first. I think typically I look at players who have the highest upside earlier in the draft, and if I'm torn between 2 players, my deciding factor typically is who has the better off night schedule. And that's pretty much where I go. Or if I look at what positions I'm lacking, I might lean towards one player over another. Obviously, it's important to get some players with some dual eligibility. Not a deal breaker, I guess you could work around it. But I think when it comes to off nights, I would first 5-6 rounds, I would probably take it in consideration, looking at 2 players that I see similarly and pick whoever has the better of the 2 in terms of the off nights.
Yeah, I like it there. I like what you're saying there. I tend to agree, and I really only like truly value the off nights in I would say the first 2/3 of the draft, because if you're going for the off nights in the later third of the draft, those are players that you may want to drop, and they may not be on your team all season. And then it's like, well, if you prioritized off nights, you missed out on other guys who maybe you wouldn't have dropped. So the off nights really come into play for guys that I think are going to be on my team all season. I think it could be valuable in winning that games played matchup. But I like a Jacob Trouba. I don't really know if Trouba is rosterable all season. You'll really have to see what his production is like, and he needs to keep those blocks up to everything that's expected.
Yeah, I think the dual eligibility is a lot more important when deciding between players for me personally. I will say this with the off nights and schedule. Do either of you guys, I've done this and I feel like it might be like an oversight on some people's part. I talked to Nate and Blake about this as well, and I feel like they really didn't look at it too much, but looking at certain players that you're drafting, what their playoff schedule might be in your particular league. Because as you look, some teams only play 9 games out of a potential like 12. So you're getting 3 more games played with certain players. Some might get more on off nights in the finals, etc. Do you guys take that into account at all when drafting, or do you not really look at that?
Me first, I don't really look at that because I think it's more important to play to make the playoffs first. If you get a lock later throughout the season, then I would be looking to make some trades. But for me personally, I think I just try to build the best team I possibly can throughout the regular season. And then as we're getting closer to playoffs, try to make some adjustments at that point.
Yeah, I tend to agree for more like competitive leagues where all managers are pretty good at fantasy hockey. I'm not going to really take that into account to pick one guy over another guy that I'm a little higher on. But if you're in a league where I'm in my home league that, I'm making the playoffs every year, and like there's no doubt. So that's where, like, especially in the top few rounds, I will look at that playoff schedule and I will take a guy who has a great playoff schedule. And I'm really looking past the bye week too, because in that league I'm probably going to be there.
I love it. Awesome. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we hop off here today? Any final feedback or best wishes to anyone who's entering into their actual drafts upcoming in the next couple of weeks or so?
Ryan, you?
Yeah, just have fun with it and good luck. And we are entering fantasy hockey season. We love it. It's the later half of September. It's go time, and it's time to draft for a lot of people. So we made it through the off season. I think we are now in preseason mode.
That's right. And Evan, final thoughts.
We're getting there, and it's more exciting. I don't know. It hit me when I did my first real draft, non-best ball. Just the excitement that like your heart rate gets up and you're like finally drafting a real team that you're going to stick with. So that was an exciting feeling. And as we get into draft season, we wish everyone luck. Thanks for tuning in for us. And we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going here. Content into the season too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with that, we appreciate everyone. That's all we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value and helped you get just a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to the band there for supplying the music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. Appreciate your time. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.